preparation back home, coming out of a winter, and when we come to India, there's obviously a massive focus on spin, and I guess we were lucky enough to be here last year, and we sort of knew a little bit about how India played, and watching them against the Australian team. So we've done a lot of work in terms of spin and playing through the middle, and I guess it was nice that it came off the other day.
In a tightly contested series, New Zealand were denied in 2016, but they came prepared even better this year and upset the mighty men in blue at Mumbai by overshadowing them in all departments. Captain Kohli scored a gritty century, but he was the lone warrior as other key India batsmen ran into Trent Boult at his very best. Also, current India spin sensations Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal took the beating as both Tom Latham and Ross Taylor countered their wrist spin with their best knocks in India. Undoubtedly, this Kiwi side looks the best among recent teams to tour India. But they will be aware that the series is still wide open and India have won all of their last 6 bilateral ODI series, and a lot of work still needs to be done. So as both teams face off at Pune, can India bounce back, or will we see New Zealand create history by winning their first ever bilateral ODI series in India? Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. It is an interesting time for India. Not often in the recent past have we said that they need to win, they have to win in order to stay alive in a bilateral ODI series at home. But that's where we stand ahead of the second ODI at the MCA Stadium in Pune, marred with news that you don't like cricket being associated with. We'll come to that in just a bit. But after going 1-0 up, a convincing and a very clinical, well-prepared 6-wicket win in Mumbai, they travel, 3 hours on the expressway depending on traffic, and reach the MCA Stadium. Ajit Agarkar has made that trip many times when he goes to his palatial farm in between Mumbai and Pune. Good to have you, Ajit.
Thanks. Good to have you, actually. We've been here. You've been missing.
I just took one game off. And India forgot how to win. But Chris Harris dons India colours. Very, very sturdy in his blues and looks like an absolute rock star with those headphones. Good to have you, Chris.
It's great to be back, and even more importantly, it's good to be back after that great performance from New Zealand in the first one day.
Okay, and they've started well in the second because Kane Williamson wins the toss, decides to bat first. We'll come to all the talk surrounding the pitch in just a little while from now. But let's first talk about the decision itself. Williamson choosing to bat. Ajit, from what we've seen of this pitch, what we know of Pune, thoughts on the New Zealand captain's decision?
Yeah, just wants to put runs on the board, put more pressure on India, I guess. Usually it's a good pitch in Pune. The bowling they obviously did quite well with the ball. Again, sometimes runs on the board, we are 1 down in the series, can put a bit of pressure on India. The thing about Pune is the pitch usually stays the same. And it's not the biggest of grounds. So New Zealand will have to get a few runs on board to put that pressure on India.
You got to love it, Chris, when the opposing captain says we would have fielded anyway.
Yeah. I hope that New Zealanders didn't talk too much to the curator, because I would imagine that New Zealand won the toss and batted first because they'll expect the wicket to slow up. But then you listen to Kohli in the middle there at the toss and saying that quite often Pune tends to play a little bit better from a batting perspective in the second innings. So I'm sure Kane Williamson won't be that keen to hear that.
Okay, now speaking of, I know it's a terrible segue, but speaking of speaking to the curator, we take this on a very serious note. There has been an incident regarding the MCA curator, Pandurang Salgaonkar, who's been suspended by the BCCI pending an inquiry now after news media report emerged this morning of possible and alleged interaction with reporters posing as bookies. We don't know the full story of it yet, so we're being careful with our words, but we do know that there was an alleged interaction by the curator about divulging the nature of the pitch or possibly even manipulating the pitch for the second ODI. There is a statement from the acting president of the BCCI, C.K. Khanna, which we'll just put out for you in a moment. And there was some thought an hour or so back that this game may not go ahead. This is what C.K. Khanna, the acting BCCI president, has said. Salgaonkar has been suspended and he has been banned from entering the stadium till the report of the inquiry is submitted. Khanna has spoken with the MCA president, Abhay Apte, who's already initiated an inquiry, and the BCCI's neutral curator from Mumbai has taken charge, and they don't believe there'll be any issue as far as the match itself is concerned. Not news that we like our sport to be associated with, and of course this is all very early stages, so we don't want to be judgmental either way, but at least it's good that we're having a game. Ajit.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a tragedy for all of the people who bought the tickets. Series so finely balanced, or India for the first time in a while under a bit of pressure. New Zealand, it would have been, look, it's silly. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what actually comes out of that investigation. So rather than point fingers at anyone, we'd rather wait to make a comment. But these are things you don't want to be near the game. Hopefully, the game sort of takes precedence, and the cricket is what usually people start worrying about more than the other stuff.
It's the match referee, Chris, that's taken the call that the match goes forward. In any event, would this be even the slightest distraction for a visiting team? Is it the kind of thing that could put you off so close to the start of a game?
No, not at all. I guess they'll take confidence in the fact that the match referee got to make the decision, so it was an impartial decision. Obviously, he's looked over the conditions and taken some advice from other people, and it sounds as though the pitch looks fine, and I'm sure it will play fine. So be rest assured that it won't even be in the thoughts of the players. They'll be happy that the match referee has made the right decision. Common sense has prevailed. He doesn't think that there'll be any issues. So, as I said, just really looking forward to Game 2 starting.
Yeah. Well, let's focus on the on-field action now. And of course, you can catch the very latest on this story as it progresses on ESPNcricinfo.com. I can see the comments coming in about the pitch curator, but let's just hold on till we have official information. Right, let's focus on the game itself. And there are changes to the Indian team. We don't often see that after one ODI, but that's usually one ODI that India tend to win at the start of a bilateral series. Not the case this time, and Virat Kohli says he wants the all-round skills of Akshar Patel in place of the wrist spin of Kuldeep Yadav. 1 for 64 in the opening game for Kuldeep, and that is enough for Kohli to say he wants conventional left-arm spin and perhaps a little more batting lower down. No other changes otherwise, so Dinesh Karthik keeps his place ahead of Manish Pandey. That takes us to our first poll. If you're watching us on Facebook, fire in, because I know there's a lot of fan following for Kuldeep Yadav, but Akshar for Kuldeep, right move. If you think it's yes, then give us the wow reaction. If you think it's no, then get angry about it, as I get both Ajit and Chris's thoughts. Surprising?
Very surprising, especially after the one game, one loss. I hope India's not been reactive suddenly. The one thing that it helped India is Chahal and Kuldeep getting wickets in the middle. Not to say that Akshar Patel may not do that. Ross Taylor in that inning didn't look comfortable against Kuldeep at the start of this inning. Tom Latham was the only guy who played both spinners well.
Yes.
Very surprising. I mean, to add batting at number 8, if your number 7 or your top 7 can't do it, I'm not sure how much your number 8 will be effective with the bat. He may bowl well with the ball, but I think that mystery around Kuldeep might have benefited India. So yeah, surprised because just after one loss, I mean, New Zealand played well on the night. I don't think the bowlers bowled that badly. So yeah, surprised.
When New Zealand look at that team sheet, would they be going, that's not so bad?
They'll be very excited. I think Ajit said it very, very well, that I thought Kuldeep bowled very well, and I thought his figures, he bowled better than his figures relayed. I think he had Guptill in trouble early when he got a chance. Taylor, I never really thought, although he played a magnificent innings, he was the one bowler that he had trouble with right throughout his innings. I think Tom Latham was magnificent and played the spinners really well. But and remember, he got one of the big players out in Kane Williamson. So I think New Zealand will be celebrating the fact that Kuldeep's not playing. He's a little bit different. He's left arm Chinaman, which you don't see a lot of.
Yeah.
And I think New Zealand will be a lot more comfortable against the more orthodox spin of Patel. So, yes, I think New Zealand will be very happy that Kuldeep's been dropped, and I'm very surprised.
What it also kind of tells you is he still worried about his middle order? His 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, it's one game. They played well so far.
Does Akshar Patel give you that assurance?
Not in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, he could get a few handy runs if need be at the end. He's never going to come above number 8. So if your top 7 have failed, you're in trouble in any case. Again, you'd rather look for a wicket-taking option as a bowler.
Just very quickly on the other possible comments that I can see coming in. Zakir Siddiqui saying, why aren't they giving a go to Manish Pandey? He's as good as DK. That when it comes to rating the strike. Nitin Anthony saying, should not chop and change number 4 every game. Now you need to give either Manish or DK a longer run. So I think that's Ajit's second.
DK didn't bat number 4 last game. It was
that's the other funny part.
Yeah, I mean, we said it after the last game or during the last game. Whoever comes into bat number 4, just give him 3 games. Just like your 1, 2 and 3. Yeah, there might be an occasion where you change or send Hardik Pandya. Pandya up there. But in general, your number 4 has to be as settled as your top 3.
All right, now we'll make this a bigger debate on the number 4, maybe on a halftime show when we discuss India's chase and depending on how much New Zealand get. As far as Kane Williamson's team goes, it's the same 11 by Tinker with an 11 that really stunned India at the Wankhede a couple of nights back. So there's still no place for Matt Henry, as some of you on the comments seem to be asking why. It's a pretty well-oiled machine that we saw in that first game, and they stick to it. No surprises, Chris Harris?
No surprises at all. And I guess the most exciting from a New Zealand point of view is that we probably had 3 standout performances and 1 very good one. Trent Boult was magnificent. So from a bowling perspective, New Zealand really wants to see Tim Southee step up and wants to see Adam Milne improve throughout this tour. I also thought Mitchell Santner bowled very, very well, so we want to see that continue. And then from a batting perspective, we saw 2 magnificent innings from Ross Taylor and Tom Latham. So I'd like to see a little bit more at the top from Martin Guptill and also Colin Munro, who's so dangerous, and if he gets going, can be very dangerous. And obviously, we had a rare failure from Kane Williamson in that first game. So, look, I think it's exciting because New Zealand won the first game and there's still a lot of room for improvement. So I believe if they get those issues right and other people improve, once again, they're going to be able to put out the skills, or they're going to be able to produce the game plan that's going to test India again in the second one day.
Yeah, well, what a day for New Zealand, standing 1 game away from registering what's a mighty feat these days, a series win in bilateral cricket in India. Let's look at what the reaction was in the camp after that win. I believe some of the Kiwi players have been active on Twitter, as many of them are. Ajit Agarkar is not one of those players that likes his social media. I don't know about Chris Harris. I'll come to him in a bit. But I see Ross Taylor putting out something on Instagram and says it's a great start to the series. Always picks up a picture. Had the best seat in the house. Well batted, Tom Latham. So congratulating his partner. There's more that comes your way from the social dugout. Mr. Tendulkar says, congrats on a good win to the Black Caps. Great composure and a good strike rate rotation. Key to the fabulous partnership between Latham and Ross. And then this. Wow, this was fun. Sehwag and his humour. Well played, Ross Taylor, Darji ji. Great effort after handling the pressure of Diwali orders. And Ross Taylor says, thanks, Sehwag. भाई अगली बार अपना ऑर्डर टाइम पे भेज देना, सो मैं आपको अगली दिवाली के पहले डिलीवर कर दूंगा. That is outstanding Hindi. I'll translate that for Chris Harris in just a minute. And we've got a little more from Brendan McCullum. Brilliant from Latham and Taylor. Well played, gents. Coming out of a long winter to beat India in those conditions. Sehwag's standard of humour is as good as his footwork was at times. But Chris Harris, the point is Taylor means, well, you know what Darji is, Taylor in Hindi, the one who prepares your clothes, and therefore saying for Diwali he would have been very busy sending people new clothes and therefore managed to get ready in time. I see you like that joke more than I did.
Yeah, that was very good. Very good Hindi from Ross Taylor. Very impressed.
Anyone who in the New Zealand camp would have helped him with that?
No one. I'm sure there's some outside influences. I'm sure there's some Indians around taking the New Zealanders around who would have helped them with that. I think it was quite funny.
All right, well done. Okay, so many of them play so much IPL cricket, you can't put it past them to actually have come up with it themselves. But all right, well done, Ross Taylor. Okay, let's have a look at some numbers now and tell you the story that numbers tell. We're comparing top order versus middle order. That seems to be a question mark as far as India are concerned, because when Kohli, Rohit and Shikhar get going, it's a different game altogether. 58 the average for the top 3 since June 2017, and numbers 4 to 7 we're still looking at numbers of 38. Difference in strike rate, and certainly the biggest difference is not too many guys there seem to be getting the big hundreds like their top 3 do. Ajit Agarkar, not a story we didn't already know.
Yeah, I think a worry is a little bit of a worry is the strike rate at times. Like, I mean, there's not enough time sometimes to get 100, and India's top 3 have been batting so well that there's in a lot of the games there's been very little for the middle order to do, and sometimes Hardik Pandya has been put at number 4, and he's had a couple of sort of 70s or 80s. So yeah, but they need to step up. When the top last game was a classic example. A lot of them got starts. No one quite carried on. I mean, that 20 runs from 280 to 300 might have made a huge difference to that game. And maybe that's where Kohli is a little bit worried, and he's got Akshar Patel, because he said at the toss we want to lengthen our batting. I'm not quite sure how that does it, but maybe that's a little bit of a worry. Hopefully India's top 3 fire and they don't have to worry.
No, you can't always. But Chris, that point of Hardik Pandya, how India have been using him, especially looking at the striker in the middle overs. Let me get some questions and throw them to you. Faraz Khan saying, should MSD's batting allow a strike rate, be allowed at a strike rate of under 80? What's the solution to it? We got one more on how Hardik Pandya key and India should look at him regularly to bat 4 or 5. I've just your thoughts. Is that becoming a bit of a worry for India as to how 4, 5 and 6 tend to play at a certain pace?
Yeah, those statistics you brought up before aren't any surprise. I think you 1, 2 and 3 you'd expect to average higher. I think Ajit touched on the point that 4 to 7 you'd expect their average to be lower but their run rate to be higher, so that's one concern. Hardik Pandya obviously is one that is in terrific form. And it looks as though India have given him a free licence. So what that means is when he comes off like he did against Australia, obviously everyone's going to be very happy. But because he's so aggressive, there's going to be games where he gets a start or doesn't actually get going. So that's going to put pressure on. MS Dhoni, look, that was a typical innings for him. 25 off 42, maybe a little bit slower. But that's at the stage generally when he bats through that he looks to accelerate. And New Zealand just got him out at a very good time. So that's going to happen from time to time where he gets in and he unfortunately does get out. But we know how good is he at finishing. And if he gets through to the end, you know that generally, more often than not, he gets a strike rate of over 100. The one concern for me for India is they brought one guy in to bat at 4 in Karthik. And there's still some debate where the Manish Pandya should have been dropped anyway. But for me, I can't believe that Karthik didn't bat 4 when it was the perfect time for him to come in because they've lost early wickets. I have no problem with India playing with their order at 4 if they get off to a terrific start. If they're 220 for 1, then you can say, well, it makes sense to bring someone like a Pandya up the order to try and keep the run rate going. But in that first game, it was the ideal time to have a proper batsman, so-called proper batsman, batting at number 4 because that was the ideal time to bat him. So that's the one issue that I think India have, that number 4 position. And I think what they're doing, they're not giving themselves a chance to rectify that problem.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, there's various people saying that number 4 is a concern, but there's nobody constant who's batted at number 4. So it'll always stay a concern if there are different people batting at that number. So